Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBabeCrochet.com, and today I wanted to show you how to crochet the Celtic Mandala throw. I'm going to go ahead and put a better picture for you to see. In this design, you will learn how to crochet 8 texturized and in some cases cabled stitches. You're not going to believe how easy these are to crochet. Now, if you've tried some of my other projects, you may be familiar with some of these, so you might actually enjoy learning how to crochet them in a square. And before I go any further, if you are here for the first time to my channel, please hit that subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss this. And I have many other things coming your way. And if you could hit the notification bell and the thumbs up, that would really bless me. Well, let me go ahead and show you what you're going to need. I'm using the Premier Yarns Everyday Acrylic. The information for each skein is right here, 203 yards per skein. This is 4-ounce skein, 100% anti-pilling acrylic. This is a medium or worsted weight, or some of you in Europe may know this as an Aran weight yarn. The number of skeins that I use is going to put right across the bottom so you'll know how many of these you will need. I'm also recommending a size I or 9 or 5.00 millimeter crochet hook and a yarn needle for hiding loose ends and a pair of scissors. To begin, we start with our slip knot, and then we're going to chain 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. And we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first chain of the round. Slip stitch. Okay, now we have what I like to call a donut seed or a little Cheerio here, and we're going to chain 2. This is to begin for round number 1, and as I go around, I'm actually going to crochet with the extra thread so I can hide that while I crochet. I'm going to crochet 20 double crochets right into the center of our little donut seed here. Okay, and as I crochet these stitches, they're simple double crochets. For those of you who find my crocheting a little too fast, I apologize first of all, but I also want to give you a solution for this video and any other video. Should you ever want to slow me down during this video series, all you need to do is look down here at the bottom for right-handers, or right here on the left side, or over on this side if you're watching the left-handed video. And by doing that, you can click a little gear icon. It looks like a little sprocket, and that will bring up a menu where you can actually change the speed of the video playback. And if you're watching me on a cell phone, if you look in the upper right hand corner, there'll be 3 vertical dots, and if you click on that, that will also give you an opportunity to slow down the video, or if I get real boring to you, just go ahead and speed it up. All right, so let's go ahead and see how many of these stitches did I crochet. And I'll show you how to count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we need 8 more. I'll go ahead and crochet 8 more of these double crochets. After crocheting 20 double crochets, and I did have to shift these around to make sure that I could get them all to fit. Make sure that you do have 20. It's very important for the stitch count. We're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. And let me say something about the turning chain, the chain 2. This does not count as a stitch in our stitch count in the pattern. Just wanted to be clear about that. And as I give stitch counts as we go along, I am not including the turning chain. And we do not use this as a double crochet in my work. All right, so go ahead and join with a slip stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2. Again, does not count as a stitch. And now in that same place as the joining, we're going to work 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, all worked in the same place. Okay, so that is the first corner formed. Now we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4 And this is what you're going to repeat all the way around. I'll give you the second repeat. Okay, in the next stitch, we're going to form another corner, which is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, all worked in that same place. Okay, so now we have 2 corners, just as simple as that. And now we're going to do 4 more double crochets, 1 in each of the next 4 stitches, 3 and 4. So go ahead and repeat that around, and I will show you the join. After working this all the way around, you should have something that looks like this with 4 corners. We're going to join with a slip stitch to that first double crochet of the round, and now we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch and slip stitch till we get to that chain 2 corner. Now we're going to begin round 3 with a chain 2, and now we're going to work half double crochets. Work 2 half double crochets. If you've never worked a half double crochet, wrap the hook, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. It looks a lot like a double crochet, but it just has less height for this particular stitch. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to work 2 more half double crochets in that chain 2 corner. 1, 2. Okay, now we're going to work front and back post double crochets, and we're going to start with the very first stitch right here. We're not going to skip that first stitch like we usually do on edges. Since we're working in the round, it's a little different. We're going to wrap our hook, and we're going to go around the body. We're not going in through the top. We're going around the body of that first stitch, pull up a loop, and now we just complete the double crochet the way we normally would. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now we go for a back post double crochet. Wrap the hook like you would for a double crochet, but instead we're going to come in the back door. I'm going to go around the body of, let me do that again. Go around the body of the stitch, but coming in from the back side. Pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Hopefully that will demystify all there is to know about the post stitches. They are not particularly difficult. It's just where you put the hook. Okay, now we're going to alternate that across. Front post double crochet and back post double crochet. I'm going to work this across with you. Front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet. Front post, and we end going across here with the back post double crochet. Now we come to the corner, and this is where we do our first repeat of what we're going to do all the way around. Again, we work 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets, and that is the repeat. I'm going to go ahead and I'll start this again for you. We do a front post double crochet. Make sure you start on that end stitch. Don't skip any stitches for this, and then a back post double crochet, etc. So go ahead and work this all the way around. There is one thing very important that I should point out as we work along the last side. Remember I said that the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. That holds through even when we do these front and back post stitches. So when you come to that chain 2, we're just going to ignore that and go to the next stitch, which is that double crochet, just like that. Be careful that you do not work over the chain 2. I'll try to point that out in the other rounds that we're going to be doing, but I just wanted to be very clear about that, because I know somebody is going to work around that and then tell me that the stitch count is off, and that is not the case. This does not count as a stitch. All right, now we're ready to join to the top, or the first stitch of the round, which is right here. So go ahead and join with a slip stitch. Now I'm going to have you slip stitch to that corner chain 2 space again. Just work slip stitches just like so. Now we're going to chain 2. We're going to do another round. We're going to repeat round 3. Do a half double, 2 half double crochets for that corner, chain 2, and working in that same chain 2 space, another 2 half double crochets. And just like we did before, we're going to work around these half double crochets. Now we'll start with a front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet. Now as you work, continue this alternating front and back post double crochets. Your front post double crochets should be over other front post stitches and then back post over the back post. I just wanted to make sure that they are lining up just like this. I'll show it to you once I get across the edge here. And as you notice, you're going to be adding stitches on each side for every round. We're going to be adding 4 new stitches from those half double crochets. Okay, so I've gotten all the way to the corner. I just wanted to show you. You see how these line up like this? And this is actually the back. It should look very similar. And then we get to the corner and we're back to the 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets worked in that corner space. And then we're back to the front and back post double crochets alternating. So go ahead and work that all the way around your square. Wanted to show you the ending of round 4. I just worked a back post double crochet, and again here's the chain 2, which I am not going to work around. I'm going to skip that because it is not an official stitch in our work. Work the front post double crochet and then now the back post double crochet. At the end of round 4 you should have 64 stitches total. Now I'm going to work a slip stitch in the top of that first half double crochet, and I'm going to slip stitch my way to the chain 2 corner. Just wanted to pause and show you what you should have. Now we're going to repeat this 2 more times. We're going to repeat this same round 3 for round 5 and round 6, but let me give you the stitch count on what you should have for these rounds. You should have 80 stitches at the end of round number 5, and you should have 96 stitches at the end of round number 6. I'm going to go ahead and start you on round 5, but I'm going to go ahead and work rounds 5 and 6. Okay, we're going to chain 2, and just like we did with rounds 3 and 4, 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 half double crochets in that chain 2 space. Now we work front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet. Make sure you work over those half double crochets from the previous round, and then we just continue on front and back post double crochets until we get to the corner. And just like we did with rounds 3 and 4, we work 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 half double crochets in the corner. So go ahead and work those 2 rounds, rounds 5 and round 6. After working this all the way around, we are going to work a slip stitch to that first stitch to join. Now let's go ahead and slip stitch in the next stitch and into that chain 2 corner. Let me just give you show you what we have. This is at the end of 6 rounds. Now we're ready to work a single crochet round. This will be round number 7. We chain 1, and in that corner space we're just going to work 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 more single crochet, just like that. Now we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch across. Now don't forget that there's a stitch here. Let me pull this back a little bit. It's a little bit hidden, but don't omit that single crochet. So go ahead and crochet 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. When you get to the chain 2 corner, you work 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 single crochet. Just want to emphasize as we come across this last corner that there is the chain 2. We are going to skip that as the stitch, and we're going to work over these other double crochets, which also are the ones that have the slip stitches. So make sure that your stitch count is not including the chain 2 corners. You should have 24 single crochets across each side plus the chain 2 corners. So the total stitch count for single crochets at the end of this round is 104 stitches. Then at the end of that single crochet round, we should have 104 stitches all the way around. Now I have not connected it yet to the first stitch of the round, and that's because we're going to start the next round, which is the beginning of the low front ridge, a little differently. We're going to work with the same front side facing, and we're only going to work in the front loop of the stitches of the single crochets. And as we work around this, we are actually going to skip this chain 2 for the round 1, and that's because this round does not necessarily carry the stitch count of this project. The round that we working in the remaining loop is actually going to take care of that stitch count. So instead of joining with a slip stitch through both loops here, what we're going to do is we're going to work a slip stitch just in that front loop. We're going to skip this chain 2. Like I said, we're going to come work in that later. Then we're just going to work a slip stitch in that next front loop, and the next, working all the way around the square. This is going to give this pattern a nice raised texture, just like this, which is going to be even more pronounced when we work the round that will include the single crochets in the corners and everything behind. So go ahead and work this to the next corner, and I'll show you how to skip the next corner across. Okay, I've worked all the way across. Now I'm approaching the single crochet, chain 2 single crochet. So just work a slip stitch in that first single crochet, skip that chain 2 corner, and then slip stitch in the front loop of the next stitch, and just work that all the way around. After working those slip stitches and those front loops all the way around, we come to the first slip stitch that we worked right here, and we're going to go ahead and work a slip stitch in that first loop. We're going to go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to turn now to work the row number 2 of the low front ridge. Now, but there is one more single crochet right back here that we don't want to forget, and that is the one that was worked as part of that chain 2 space. So let's go ahead and we'll work that as our first single crochet, and then the next single crochet, you can see the shape, the back shape of the single crochet right here, and the loop is right above it there. See the single crochet shape here, and the loop is there. Once you see the first couple of loops, then it's easy to see the rest. So we're going to work those single crochets. Make sure, like I said, make sure you catch that first single crochet in that turning chain, because we are going to be working in the turning chains on this round. So let me go ahead and show you what it's going to look like with the front side facing. See what a nice texture that is? So go ahead and work these single crochets across to the next corner, and then I'll show you how to work the chain 2 corner. Having worked all the way across, there's one more single crochet, which is that single crochet in that corner, and then right here is the chain 2. And in that chain 2 space, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet, just like that. Once we do that, we are back to working in only that remaining loop, and go ahead and work this all the way around, working in that remaining loop until you get to the corners. Okay, this brings us to the last chain 2 corner. We go ahead and work a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet in that corner. And to join, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first single crochet of the round. And let's go ahead and turn to see what we have. Okay, don't worry about the waviness right now. A lot of this is going to settle out as we add additional rounds. So you have this nice little raised texture along the edge, which I think is going to look very nice. Okay, now, and we are going to do a chain one. We're going to slip stitch in that first single crochet and then slip stitch our way to the chain two corner, chain two. Again, this chain does not count as a stitch, and we're going to work a double crochet corner. Work a double crochet, chain two, and another double crochet worked in that same space. Okay, after finishing that corner, we are ready to begin the arrow stitch. For the arrow stitch, we are going to skip the first three stitches, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a treble crochet in the next stitch. Now, some of you who've worked some of my other Afghans may notice that I am not working a double crochet in the first stitch, so do be careful that you follow the directions for in the round, because it will vary a little bit from working this in rows. Okay, now working behind this stitch, we're going to work a double crochet in each of the three skipped stitches. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to repeat that all the way across. Skip the next three. 1, 2, 3. Treble crochet in that next stitch. Working behind the treble crochet, we're going to double crochet in each of the skipped stitches. I'll do that for you one more time. Skip the next three stitches. 1, 2, 3. Treble crochet in the next stitch. Working behind that treble crochet, double crochet in each of the three skipped stitches. So go ahead and work that all the way across until you get to the next corner. Once you get to that corner, you should have used all the stitches until you get to the chain two corner. Work the double crochet, chain two, and another double crochet in that chain two space, and then you begin again with the arrow stitch. Skip three stitches, 1, 2, 3, treble crochet in that next stitch. Working behind that treble crochet, you double crochet in each of the three skipped stitches. So go ahead and work this all the way around your square. At the end of this round, we're going to work a slip stitch in the top of that first double crochet of the round. So let's go ahead and take a look at our square at this point. Okay, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, just right, 7 arrow stitches begun across each side. Now to begin the arrow row number 2, go ahead, do a slip stitch to that chain 2 space. We are going to turn, chain 2. Again, after that chain 2, we're going to work a double crochet in that first stitch. Now we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a treble crochet in the next stitch, which should actually be the same treble crochet from the previous round. Now working in front of this treble crochet, we're going to work a double crochet in each of the skipped stitches. Okay, just like that. And this is with the back side facing, of course. Skip the next 3 stitches, treble crochet in the next stitch, which is also the top of the treble crochet from the previous round, and double crochet in those 3 skip stitches. Make sure you're working in front of that treble crochet as you do that. So let me show you what this looks like with the front side facing. You can see the arrow right there. So go ahead and work this all the way to the corner. After working that all the way across, we're going to double crochet in that remaining double crochet, and then we get to the chain 2 corner. We're going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet in that same chain 2 corner, and then we go back to working the arrow stitch. So that's the repeat. It's going to be worked all the way around. Then I'm going to go ahead and actually we do need to work a double crochet along that side, and then we begin the arrow stitch. Skip the next 3 stitches, treble crochet in that first stitch, or rather in that first stitch after you skip 3, and then double crochet in those 3 skip spaces, making sure that you're working in front of the treble crochet. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around. After working this all the way around, we come to the corner and we go ahead and work our double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet for that corner. And as I've said a few times before, this chain does not count as a stitch, so we just join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. And let's go ahead and take a look at our square, which should be looking very nice like this. Okay, now we are ready to go on to round number 12. Round number 12 is simply going to be working single crochets. So we're going to chain 1, and I've already turned to have the front side facing. Go ahead and slip stitch your way to that chain 2 space, chain 1, and now we're going to work a single crochet corner. We're going to work 1 single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet inside that chain 2 corner space, and then we're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across, or actually all the way across to the next corner. When we get to the next corner, we're going to simply work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in that corner, just like we worked here. So go ahead and work this all the way around your square. Okay, I wanted to show you the last couple of stitches so that there are no mistakes made. I've worked in this double crochet. This is the chain 2 that we are not using, and then I work in that last double crochet. I'm also working over a slip stitch as I work that last stitch. You should have a total of 34 single crochets. I'm including the chain 2 corners. So 34 single crochets across each side. You should have 136 stitches total all the way around. Now we're going to continue on to rounds 13 and 14. These are the low front ridge rows that we worked here a couple rows back. Okay, now what we're going to do, we are not going to join with a slip stitch to both of the loops. Instead, we are going to begin our low front ridge round 1 with a slip stitch, and we're going to skip the chain 2 like we did in the other rounds that we worked like this, and then we're going to go over to the first stitch, which is right here, and again working only in the front loops. We're going to slip stitch all the way around, and we are going to work these rounds just like we did the rounds. Let me get you the numbers there. That would be rounds 8 and 9. So if you wanted to look back in the video at rounds 8 and 9, you can do that. These are completed in the exact same way. The stitch count does not change for this round from the previous round. But on the round where you're working the single crochet, which is worked just like round number 9, you're going to have 144 single crochets. So go ahead and work those next 2 rounds of the low front ridge. So after having worked round 13, which is again low front ridge, round 1, we're going to end with a slip stitch to that first slip stitch of this round. We're going to turn, and now we're going to give it a chain 1 to work the second round of the low front ridge, or in this case, round 14. Okay, so we found our chain 2. So what we need to do is we're going to work in that one loop of that single crochet that's in a part of that chain 2 corner. Once we've done that, we need to find the next stitch, which is right here, and we're going to work a single crochet there in the remaining stitch. If you're having a hard time finding where this is, locate where the back side of the single crochet is, and then if you look right above it, it's the loop right there. So we'll go ahead and work in those remaining loops, working single crochets all the way across until you get to the next corner. After working those single crochets all the way across, I get to the place where the chain 2 corner is right here, and go ahead and work a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet in that chain 2. After doing that, we resume by working the single crochets in that remaining loop all the way around. So go ahead and complete this round. So after working that last corner with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, go ahead and join with a slip stitch to that very first single crochet of the round. And let's go ahead and turn and look at our work. Okay, it's coming along nicely. Now it's time for us to begin round 15. Let's go ahead and give it a chain 1, and we're going to do a slip stitch in that next stitch, and then a slip stitch in that chain 2 space, chain 2. We're going to work a half double crochet, chain 2, and a half double crochet for that corner. It's very important that they're half double crochets and not single crochets. Now we're going to skip the first stitch, and we're going to be working in every other stitch across. So skip this stitch, and in this stitch we're going to do the woven stitch, and I'm going to do this very slowly. We wrap the hook, insert the stitch in through those top loops, pull up a stitch, pull through one loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. Now that's half of the stitch. Now we're going to wrap the hook again, insert into the same stitch, pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on the hook. We do not wrap it again, we just pull through those 2, and that stitch is completed. Let's do that again. We're going to skip the next stitch, but we're going to go into the stitch right beside it, wrap the hook, insert, pull up a loop, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, and then pull through 2 loops on the hook. Okay, so let's do that again. Skip the next stitch, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through 2 loops on the hook. I do have an additional video. I'll have the link in the video description below should you need a more extensive explanation of this stitch. But at this point, I'm just going to say skip the next stitch and work that woven stitch in the next stitch. Go ahead and do this all the way across to the next corner. After working those in every other stitch all the way across, we come to the corner, and we're going to work a half double crochet, chain 2, and a half double crochet in that chain 2 space, and that is going to be your repeat all the way around. At the end of this round, I wanted to show you that we are skipping a stitch here, and then we're going to work our last woven stitch in the space there. This is where we had the joins and the slip stitch and whatnot, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that first half double crochet of the round. Now I want you to go ahead and slip stitch to the chain 2, and then we're going to turn, chain 2, and now we are going to work in between the woven stitch spaces. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. But we do have a half double crochet to work in first. I know it's hard to see, but we do need to work in that first half double crochet. So let's go ahead and work a half double crochet. This is not part of the corner. This is a new corner over here that we will work at the end of this round. So now we're going to work in between the woven stitch spaces. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so this here, just wanted to be clear, this is the chain 2, which is not a stitch. So our first woven stitch is actually going to be way over here. It feels like a reach, but it really isn't that far. Okay, and then we work in between the woven stitches all the way around. So go ahead and work in between these woven stitches, working more woven stitches until you get to the next corner. As we work the woven stitches all the way across, the last woven stitch worked across the side is going to be worked between the woven stitch and that last half double crochet. So let me go ahead and show you how to work that there. I just wanted to be as clear as possible because the stitch count is most important for these projects. Okay, so now I'm going to work a half double crochet in that half double crochet, and then we're going to work the corner, which is going to be a half double crochet, chain 2, and then a half double crochet. And then as we turn, we have another half double crochet to work inside. Okay, and then now the next woven stitch is going to be here between the woven stitches, and hopefully that will get you all the way around. So then we just continue with these woven stitches, and I will show you the join at the end of this round. After working those woven stitches all the way across, don't forget that you need to work a half double crochet in the remaining stitch before working your corner, which is the half double crochet, chain 2, and then half double crochet. And then again, as we turn, we're going to work a half double crochet in that first half double crochet, and then we begin working the woven stitches in between the woven stitches all the way around. At the end of this round, after working the corner, we're going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Now we're going to turn, and we are going to begin the third round of the woven stitch. Go ahead and give it a chain, and we're going to slip stitch our way to that chain 2 corner again, like so. Go ahead and give it a chain 2, and then to work the corner, work a half double crochet, chain 2, and then another half double crochet worked in that same place. Okay, now this is going to be one of the repeat rows. We're going to skip the first stitch, which is a half double crochet, and we're going to work a woven stitch in that next stitch. These are of the 2 stitches that appear all the way around, okay, around with the corners. After we've done that, and by doing this, we are actually adding to our stitch count. We should be adding 2 woven stitches along each side as we go around. Now this is going to be the row, or the round rather, with the front side facing. Okay, skip this stitch. We're going to work a woven stitch in between the next 2 stitches. Well, let's try that one again. And all the way across. I'm going to work across, and then I will show you how you will crochet as you get near the corner as you work across. So at the end of round 17, I just wanted to show you again, we have the chain 2, which does not count as a stitch, and we have these 2 half double crochets. Go ahead and work a woven stitch in that last half double crochet, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round, which happened to occur in that corner right there. So this is the end of round 17. Now for the next 8 rounds, we're going to repeat round 16 and 17 4 more times. So go ahead and do that. At the end of round 25, you should have a total of 11 woven stitch rounds. And then after that, I will show you how to work the round that will discontinue this particular stitch. Now, if you need additional stitch support, you can always back up to where this woven stitch started. That would be at round number 15. Yeah, try 15, 16, 17. So at round actually you can maybe go back to round 16 and watch round 16 and 17 again and again should you have need. This is what you should have after working 11 rounds of the woven stitch. I hope you're enjoying this. It's really looking nice. Okay, so now we've just worked our last woven stitch in that extra stitch, and it's time for us to join with a slip stitch right here to the first stitch of the round. Okay, so this is what we do after we end that. We're going to go ahead and work a slip stitch to that chain 2 space. Go ahead and turn your work. Okay, so now we're ready to work the round that discontinues the woven stitch. We're going to start with a single crochet in that very first half double crochet. After that, we are going to work in between the woven stitches. And notice that there is a little bit of a space here. Go ahead and go between those first 2 woven stitches like we've been doing. Work 2 single crochets there. We're going to skip the next woven space, and then we work 2 more single crochets. And then again, in between the next 2 woven stitches, 2 single crochets. So go ahead and work that all the way to the corner, and I'll show you how to work that corner. I want to make sure that we have the same stitch count on every side so that we can carry on to the next rounds. After working those single crochets all the way across, go ahead and work 2 more in between that last woven stitch and the half double crochet, and then a single crochet in the top of that half double crochet that was worked in the corner. And now we get to the corner, we work a single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet, and then we just continue on. Single crochet in that first half double, and then we begin again working 2 single crochets in between the woven stitches. So go ahead and continue that all the way around. At the end of round 26, we're going to end by working that corner with a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round, just like so. Now we should have 60 single crochets across each side, and yes, I am counting the single crochet that's part of that chain 2 corner, and so that would give us a total of 240 single crochets all the way around. Okay, now we are going to turn to have the front side facing. Go ahead and work a chain, and we are going to work the low front ridge rounds 1 and 2, just like we did way back here on these 2 rounds. Okay, that was round 7 and 8, I believe, way back here at the beginning. And then we worked it again here. Well, we're just going to repeat those 2 rounds. I'm going to get you started, but I'm going to go ahead and work the 2 rounds off camera. So if you need additional stitch support on this, you can just go back to rounds 8 and 9 and watch what I did there. It will be the same. It's just that we're going to obviously have more stitches to work this time. Okay, so we start off with a slip stitch, again working only in the front loops. We're going to skip the chain 2 spaces for round 1, but of course we will pick them up on round 2 of the low front ridge, and we're just working slip stitch in the front loop all the way around. Then we will join and we will work in the remaining loop, we will work the single crochets in there. So go ahead and work rounds 27 and 28, which is the same as rounds 8 and 9, which is the low front ridge, rounds 1 and 2. Not to confuse you with all those numbers, but hopefully you can just go ahead and work those two now. Okay, after finishing the rounds with the low front ridge, we're going to start round number 29. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch to that chain 2 corner, chain 1, and this is going to simply be a round of single crochet. We're going to be working 4 rounds for the knurl stitch, and so this is the round we work to help prepare for that. We're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, a single crochet in this corner. Now do make sure that the front side of your work is facing as you begin this. You should have turned at the end of round number 28, and this is round 29. So we're simply going to work single crochets in each stitch across to the next corner, and then at the next corner, or in every corner, you're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way around. After working single crochets all the way around, go ahead and join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round. And just to let you know, you should have 64 stitches from corner to corner, and that is counting the single crochets that are part of the chain 2 single crochet, chain 2 single crochet corner. And so that should bring your total to 248 stitches all the way around. So now we're going to start, this is row 2 of the knurl stitch. Go ahead and slip stitch to that chain 2 corner. So now we're ready to work the knurl stitch in the reverse direction. We start with a chain 1, and then we are going to work only in that front loop, work our reverse single crochet. I'm going to work this kind of slowly, and so we find the loop, and then we just pull the loop through, yarn over, and pull through 2. I know it's a bit awkward if you've never done this before. It does take a little bit of practice if you wanted to even make a separate swatch and just practice instead of practicing on your mandala throw, but it's not that difficult. So in fact, I've had success with beginners doing just as well as seasoned crocheters on this stitch. If you're a seasoned crocheter, don't try to control the loops. Just let the loops fall as they may as you work this stitch across. Now, if you need additional stitch support for this stitch, I have another video that was made a long time ago that you can take a look at that will show this in different yarn color, maybe even a different backdrop. But, you know, sometimes if you get a different view, a different angle of something, it can help you understand the stitch better. And sometimes you just need time for your brain to process it. But just don't be afraid of this stitch, and don't worry if things aren't exactly perfect like you think they should be. You know, most of life is not perfect, and some of the best parts of it are definitely not perfect. So, you know, do the best that you can. And I'm going to go ahead and work this to the corner, and then I'll show you what to do when you get to that corner and how to turn it. Okay, now that we've reached the corner, I wanted to show you how we're going to work this. We're going to work it very similarly to the way we worked the low front ridge. It's just that we are going the opposite direction. So we're going to work in that single crochet, and now we're going to skip the chain 2, which we will work in as we come around for the next round. But then the next stitch is going to be way over here, going 90 degrees in this new direction, and we just continue all the way around with this knurl or reverse single crochet. So go ahead and continue working that all the way around, and I will show you the join. After working this knurl or reverse single crochet all the way around. We want to be careful that we're not going to work in the chain 2 space here. We want to come and do another knurl stitch, and we're going to connect that up to the very first place there, and then join with a reverse slip stitch just like this. Now we chain 1, and now we go back to working in the remaining loops, and we're going to go ahead and start with our chain 2, work a single crochet, chain 2, and then another single crochet. That is in the chain 2 corner space. And then after that, we are going to work a single crochet in the remaining loop all the way until we get to the next corner. When we get to the next corner, I'll go ahead and show you where that is. Okay, right here. We're going to come to the chain 2 space, which is right here, which we did not work in before, and we will also work a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet in that corner. So go ahead and do that all the way around. At the end of this round, I want to show you where the last stitch was worked in the loop, and now we're going to join with a slip stitch by working through both stitches of that first single crochet that helped to form the corner. Okay, go ahead and slip stitch to that corner again, chain 1, and we are going to go ahead and turn the work to work with the back side facing. Okay, so our first stitch is actually going to be right here, where we work that slip stitch over that first stitch, and then we're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way across until we get to the next corner. Once you crochet all the way across to the next corner, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet in that corner space, and then go ahead and continue on with a single crochet in each stitch across. So go ahead and work that all the way around, making sure that you work single crochet, chain 2, single crochets in every corner. So after crocheting that last chain 2 corner, we're going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Now we're going to turn. Now before I show you the next thing we're going to do, let me explain it. We are going to work another low front ridge round 1 and 2. This is also the same as rounds 8 and 9. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip this first stitch, and we're going to skip the corner. We're going to go ahead, just like we did before, we're going to slip stitch in each stitch around, but we're going to only be working in the front loop. Okay, so we're not going to work through both loops, we just work in the front loop. And when we come to the next corner, let me show you the next corner just as a review. We will work in this stitch in the front loop. We will skip the chain 2 corner and continue just working in the front loop, working those slip stitches all the way around.